Hey, what's up, fellow modelers? Welcome to the Engine's Chair. So it's been a bit. It's been a bit since I've had a chance to talk to everybody. Today we are just going to have a kind of a group discussion on 3D modeling and how it has impacted the model building community, the modeling hobby. So if any of you watching this live want to ask any questions or actually give us some feedback on how it's affecting you, please hit us up in the chat. I'll be checking it out, and we'll have a conversation and see how things are going to go. So today I've got a couple of people joining me on my panel. You there, Cass?
Hello.
All right, we got Cass in and Mike Hazelwood. How's it going, Mike? Can you hear me? All right, so we got Cass. Cass, of course, is from Lake Monster Details, and Mike is running Vagabond Studios. You got a couple of things going on, don't you, Mike?
Quite a few things. Yeah, Vagabond's the main thing. Actually, most everything I do now is underneath the Vagabond logo, but our label. But I do help Cass with some stuff, and then of course Jonathan Marshall with his decals and some of the CAD work.
Right. So because we've kind of both been working with Cass on a couple of things.
Yep.
Cass,
very grateful.
Yeah, so Cass, you've got a couple things going on that relate to our topic today that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
Looks like Scott Einolf said he can pop in if we want him to.
Yeah, send him the link. If you got the link there.
Send him the link. Yeah.
Give him the pop in. We have one more to add. We'll try not to drag this out too much because I know we got some tight schedules today. So. Hey, Ken, I see Ken's popped into the chat from Ken's Hobby Bench. Good to see him on. He's been, we're going to talk about those 1537 Reliant parts that Cass is working to put out. And Ken has been working with Jordan on a build of that 1537 Reliant using those parts, which are 3D printed. Right, Cass?
Correct.
And you just put those out this weekend, right? This past weekend?
Last weekend, yeah.
Right.
So not all of them, just the window inserts. Detail parts are coming. So right now I'm still printing the window inserts just so I have a little bit of a stock of them, and then navigating some 3D printing issues that I'm having, but that shouldn't affect too much. So.
Okay. So let's see. Is Scott going to join us?
I hope I sent him the right link. It was the one you posted.
Yeah,
in the one I sent to you earlier. Yeah.
If it's the one I sent to you, he can log on, and we'll add him to the chat here.
All right, I think I may have sent him the wrong one.
It should be. Oh no, there he is.
Oops.
Just
there
popped on. Let's add him on here. You there, Scott? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you. All right, good to go. Hey, are you on your phone, Scott?
I am.
Can you try turning it like landscape? See if, there we go. Now we got to fool you. All right, so I wanted to start off just by we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that, Scott. Hang on. So I want to talk now. This today isn't a discussion on a how-to because there's so many variables that go into printing that it would be a long topic. We don't have that much time today. But and Ken's asking the question already. We'll get to you in a minute there, Ken. But definitely ask questions if you have any concerning 3D printing, because with this group of guys here, we should be able to hopefully give you some answers. I know, Mike, you've done a lot of 3D printing. Scott, you've been doing quite a bit of 3D printing. Cass is kind of just getting into the whole 3D printing thing. He's a reluctant printer. But we'll talk about that more. I've been printing myself for I don't know 4 years, 4 or 5 years, something like that. I don't know how long everybody else has really been into it. I know Cass is kind of starting in it. Scott, how long have you been printing?
About the last year.
About the last year, so you're relatively new into it as well. And Mike, you've been doing it for a little bit though, right?
I've had them for about a year now.
Oh, okay. So everybody's kind of and a lot of people are just getting into this as far as adding it to their model building repertoire, I guess, if you could say. But what are you guys using as far as printers right now, just to kind of get an idea of the spectrum of printers we have? Cass,
I
what are
got
you using? What, a resin printer?
Yeah,
I
I've got
have an Elegoo Saturn 4.
It is resin too. Sometimes it lays down and it doesn't work for you, but you're using resin. Mike, what do you got going on?
I've got Elegoo resin printers. I've got a couple of Saturns and a Mars.
Okay, Scott.
I got a Elegoo Saturn II that I got from Chris Morningstar.
Oh, Chris, who was supposed to be with us today and was unable to make it due to I think he's got some homecoming stuff or something going on out there.
Yes,
But,
I think it's called a class marching band thing today.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he was going to join us, but he wasn't able to today. So glad you were able to join us last minute. But I myself, I'm right now. I used to have a bunch of printers, and when I moved out here to Nevada, I had to get rid of some because I wasn't moving all that stuff out here. Plus, you guys know I'm in kind of my fifth wheel right now until after this winter. Then we'll look at buying a house. But right now, I'm just running an Anycubic. What do we got? Photon Mono M5. That's all I'm running right now. I did have the M3 Max, which I loved, but it just, I don't know what I know the problems Cass has been having with his printer, but that M5 Max I think I had it for like 2 years and I went through like 4 screens, LCD screens, and I had to replace the UV lighting array there. I forget what that's called, but where the UV bulbs are, I had to replace that once, and I went through a number of VATs because the VATs just would, I don't know. I had so many issues with that. I don't know what kind of issues you guys been having issues with your printers?
Not really. The big thing I had was when I got the new printers, like a complete and utter dumbass, I left the plastic film on the build plates for a few attempts. Was
So they
going
kept
crazy
falling
with
off.
the heat issues. Yeah.
Are any of you guys using the filament printers, or is everybody resin?
All resin.
Everybody's resin. I had a filament printer and I sold it about a month ago. I left it in Virginia, didn't even bring it out here just because I get such better detail and I have to do so much less work with print lines and all that on my resin printer versus filament. So
Yeah, I think they're great. I think they're great if you want to print one, all in once. Because you can do like a whole model in just one print instead of having to do things in parts. Yeah, but
yeah, well, they do have a bit more strength to them too, I think, than resin print does, especially for like larger print areas. For example, I had, and actually we're going to talk about this too, is what kind of things are you printing? But I had the Big Bird of Prey I did a couple years ago, but that was meant to be done in filament because it's such a large scale, and I did it in resin. I didn't really have any problems with it. But the wings were a concern for me because the wings were like this long each. I know all y'all saw that large scale Bird of Prey I brought, but and actually sold it. I don't have it anymore. But it was one of those things where I was kind of worried about printing in resin, and it turned out to be just fine. Now over the years, now that I've sold it, whether or not those wings start to get kind of a bend to them, I don't know. I won't know, but it's worked out. The resin has worked out great for me, so I just didn't see the need in having the filament printer. So Ken was asking how viable filament printing is to the hobby. I think it's very viable. There's a lot of people that have really good results with filament. Is everybody following Doug Drexler?
Mm-hmm.
And he just had who was it just printed that big scale NX01 for him?
I saw it. I don't know who printed
I saw it.
it.
Yeah, I don't remember who printed it. No.
He's well known. God, I can't remember, his name is slipping my mind right now, but I think he did all that in filament. That large scale probably was, because I don't think you're going to do that big of that's a pretty big. I think they were considering it to be filming miniature scale, although there was no scale really for the filming miniature for the NX01 because it was all CGI. But I guess that's about the size it would have been if they had to build a physical model. So I guess that's what they're going by. But I think that was all done in FDM. So I think it's very viable for the hobby. I just don't do it because one, I've had too many problems out of the one filament printer I had, and that's probably just from my inexperience. But the other issue too is like I could never really get rid of print lines real well with filament. whereas resin comes out and it's already relatively smooth. You don't have to do a whole lot of sanding typically to resin in order to get a nice smooth surface. So, I mean, that's where I'm at with it. I don't know where you guys are as far as how you feel about filament printers.
Well, I'll say this: largely depends on the filaments. But we did some aging tests at work for some stuff, and if you're using any of the the biodegradable filaments or whatnot that a lot of people like to use nowadays, those things tend to degrade unless you're in absolutely perfect condition pretty quickly. I can't get into what we were using it for, but we did some age tests, and after the equivalent of about 4 or 5 years, the filament was literally crumbling in our hands as we were trying to pull it off the test plates.
Oh wow! Well, it's biodegradable. It's probably great for stuff that you throw away or waste product that you have, stuff that doesn't. But it's probably not good for the longevity of a model you want to keep for any period of time.
Right, but, and then I know, like Jonathan, he uses his filament printer. He's got an Elegoo Neptune. He uses that to print the jacket molds for like the big Excelsior kit that he offers.
Mm-hmm.
So he uses traditional silicone molds, for the parts themselves, but he prints a jacket mold. Yeah, for that thing. Yeah. He prints a jacket mold, so he reduces the amount of silicone that he's using. Yeah.
This is the fiberglass back part.
Right.
But I know he's printing. He's also got a lot of the parts for the engines, which I haven't done a lot. Matter of fact, one of the things I'm doing right now, I'll talk about in a minute. But I know a lot of the other parts he does for that in resin printing. They're actually resin printed parts that he does for like the engines, some of the smaller, finer details.
For small, fine details, for sci-fi modeling, phaser bumps, impulse engines. For the aircraft stuff that I build, ejection seats, missiles, and whatnot, resin printing's phenomenal. Filament printing, not so much, just because getting the layer lines out, and it depends. Again, it depends on the nozzle that the printer uses. Feed the cat, Will.
No, that's somebody's. I didn't have my ringer turned. Y'all heard that? Yeah. Somebody's trying to call me. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. No, but for filament, for fine details, filament just isn't there because just by nature, the fact that you're extruding something, it's harder to extrude something into fine detail than it is to print it on an LCD screen, and it's just physics. It's the nature of the beast.
And probably what kind of made up my final determination as to whether I was going to try to even incorporate FDM printing into my hobby shop was I was going to do the Game Body Star Destroyer, I think it is, or that's what is it? I don't watch Star Wars. It's Star Destroyer, I think, right? I was trying to print that, and every time I printed it, it just had the layer lines were so bad on it. It's just I tried sanding and all these other little tricks that people talked about, like using a thin layer of UV resin to take down it was too much work. I'm like, I could print this in resin and not have to worry about doing all this stuff. So
I've heard that like using a brush coat of acetone to partially melt the parts.
Yeah. And I tried that too. I got a bottle of acetone sitting here left over because it didn't work out well for me. But again, that could be my inexperience. But to me, it was just too much trouble to go through. And at the time, I still had my large format M3 Max, so I was like, I could just print it on that, and it's resin. But like I said, I haven't had any problems with. I mean, resin is a little more brittle than FDM printing, I guess you could say. But I haven't had any issues with stuff just breaking or stuff warping out of shape just because I printed it in resin instead of filament. So I just decided to stay with resin printing. That's just the way I decided to go. But some people do have a lot of great success with FDM. Not me, and not you guys because y'all haven't tried it. But
I've tried it.
You tried it too.
We've got extrusion printers that work in our maker lab, and
oh, okay. But y'all don't have the little $300 printers at your work, Mike.
No, they got the $10,000 printer.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got 12.
You're working in aerospace, man. Y'all ain't using that little $200, $300 printer. You know, y'all using those a couple $1,000s worth of printing
Well,
equipment.
and in our makerspace, we have 12 of them.
Oh wow.
Wait, that's
Yeah,
that's one of the really cool things is they give us a space to go tinker on campus. There's
Gotcha.
an awful lot of figures and gaming miniatures printed there for guys that are just, they're wanting to play games with them, not worried about paint and detail. So FDM works fine for that.
Right.
That, and we might maybe have printed some swords to have fun one day. I don't know.
Well. So let's talk. So what is everybody printing? Cass, what are you? I know what you're printing already, but just tell everybody, what are you printing?
Well, so I've got the window inserts for the 537 Reliant. Here's a couple that I just printed today. I'm just waiting for them to dry, and then I'll cure them. So these are taking the place of the decals. So, if they discontinue the decals, but you have the model, don't despair. Right. You can get these. You just have to remove plastic from the model to get these to install. I will be coming out with instructions for these shortly. So that's one thing. New product that I did 3D print, a master. These will actually be cast in clear resin, though I will not be 3D printing these when they're released. These are for the 650th scale TOS Enterprise. You've got your production bridge and you got your pilot bridge. And inside, you could actually put the bridge inside the piece.
Okay.
There will be a dome that will go on top, and I will do my best to make it crystal clear so that you can see it. I don't know where my bridge piece went, even though I showed it to you yesterday, Will. And so I'm doing those. Those will actually be cast in clear resin. I won't be doing the 3D print on those. I just did the 3D print for the master. A lot of these, as you guys know, I'm a caster by heart. I suppose my name kind of goes with that a little bit.
Right.
That's a coincidence. But Don taught me how to cast resin parts years ago before he died, and I was going to start my own company. That would be not science fiction related. I was going to do Lake Freighter model kits. That was what I was going to do. And then when Don passed away, I kind of had that calling to take over. So some stuff that I 3D print that is just way too delicate, like the little sensor dishes for the TOS Enterprise. This, I've tried making molds of these. My failure
doesn't
rate
work
is so
out
high.
too well, huh?
Yeah, my failure rate's just so high, it wasn't worth it. I couldn't get all the air bubbles out, and so those ones I'll be 3D printing going forward. And then some of your parts as well, Will, the ones that you put together for the Reliant that would be way too delicate to try to make a mold of. And of course, since I'm on the live stream, I can't find anything. I got this huge pile of 3D parts that I've been printing.
That's the way it goes when you need something when you're on the live stream, you can't find it.
I know, right? So let's see. Some of those vent pieces that you had made, there's just no way I could ever, with all of the slats. There's just there's some vents for the impulse engine. I could maybe make a molding of those.
Those look good.
Right.
But the molds would wear out pretty quickly. So
yeah, I was looking for the ones I printed, but no, here's the ones I printed in black. Of course, my camera's probably not going to focus too well.
Those look really good.
What angle do you have those at? Are those straight up and down?
No, just a slight angle.
Okay.
Like that. But
I tried printing them straight up and down one time, and that didn't work out too well.
Yeah. Yeah, I always put a slight angle to. I'm sure everybody else does, but I usually put a slight angle to everything I print. Seems to help with layer lines, and it also, depending on the structure of the piece you're printing too. Sometimes you have to put it at an angle, otherwise it won't print right, or it'll tend to stick to the FEP on the film if you try to print it flat versus if you print at an angle. It's not as much surface area for it to grab onto the FEP. But I don't have too many problems with that. So Mike, what do you got going on? I know you've got some stuff going on over there too.
Well, right now, I talked to you guys the other day. The big thing is the new nacelles that are finally lightable.
Nice.
These are the old ones I showed you the other day. It's still the one that's got the crack here where I pulled it off the supports a little too vigorously.
Now is that nacelle? Is that one piece that you're printing?
No, it's two pieces
joined together. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the
frame
of the nacelle. Is that printed in one piece or is that a two piece?
That's a single piece print. It barely fits on the printer. I've got a different version. It's two halves. I've got a different version that splits kind of right where you see the bulkhead in the middle to fit on smaller printers. I'm trying to decide which one I want to use going forward just because these take so long to print. This is a 13.5-hour print for one nacelle.
Right.
And so if I get, a whole bunch of nacelle orders in, it's going to take weeks to print.
And you're selling those as like a finished print, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
you're doing kind of like Cass is doing. It's going to be a finished print. You're not
right.
You're not selling the 3D files of that.
No. That's one of the things that this comes from me doing decals and having had my decal art stolen before.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk about that here in a minute too. Is the aspects of why we choose to not sell the files versus printing them ourselves.
But the way I'm going to sell these is, if you buy each nacelle is going to have the two halves. The inboard, if you choose the lightable, it'll be the clear inboard. This is the outboard printed in clear, but since that doesn't actually glow in the movies on the other nacelle, I'm just going to include these opaque no matter what.
Well, unless it's next gen, they do.
That's true. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll make this an optional part. But then I've also got a separate piece here for the. You see, it's missing the fin that goes right here.
Let me bring you.
You can't really see it. Okay, there you go. See that little ridge right at the tip of my finger?
Barely.
Yeah, that's
barely. I can see it though.
So I've actually got the fin as a separate piece that sits here, and so the way I designed it is both left and right nacelles are inboard outboard halves. So you'll get the same two pieces for both sides of the ship. And then the fin actually will fit on that little ridge. And so what I'll do is I include a fin for the left nacelle, a fin for the right nacelle. And if you're building a dreadnought style, I've got a center fin to put on there as well.
Nice.
Gotcha. Nice.
So the nacelle halves themselves are the same no matter what.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, unfortunately, I tried to fit this flat out will not fit my printer in 350 scale at all.
Right. And that's what I was wondering is were you printing that in one piece or were you having to split it?
Yeah, for 350, it'll be split here at this bulkhead, and then it'll be split roughly right in here to fit on the printer, probably at an angle like this. And last night, like I said, I was doing some upgrades, adding some alignment pins here and back here, and then adding a little bit more material down here at the bottom because this tends to be a little bit thinner section than up here.
Yeah, it's a good idea it's good that you're splitting those at the bulkheads and rather than right directly in the middle, because inevitably people are going to have print issues and print failures if they're trying to print where these two pieces come together. Inevitably these are going to bend or they're not going to be supported properly and they're going to fail at some point.
If I'd brought them in, I don't think I have any pictures of it. But on the two-piece parts right here at the bulkhead, I've actually got a lip running around it so that the fore and aft will just slide together and overlap a little bit like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's self-aligning.
Sweet. Oh, where's
Scott?
Did we lose Scott? Scott disappeared.
He pushed a button.
He hit the eject button. All right. So Cass, did you find some other stuff that you were looking for?
Oh, of course not. I did find the Impulse engine for the Reliant. So this will also
okay.
be offered soon.
Right.
Ooh,
Uh,
that really looks good.
And then these, which I showed you earlier, these are still on the supports. I haven't taken them off yet. The pieces that are clear,
There he
those
is.
will actually be cast resin. I will not be printing those.
Okay.
And
And I'm gonna tell you, of all the parts I made for that 1537 Reliant, I'm really proud of that Impulse deck. I like the way it turned out. I should also mention too that not only do the grills I made for it fit, but also Paul's photo etch from Paragraphics will fit those. So if you do want to use the photo etch, they'll also fit that as well. So it's an option. You can use either the 3D printed part or you can use the photo etch part that comes with it. I like the 3D printed part because it adds a little depth, but it's not really necessary for that piece, I don't think, because I think the grills on the studio model were pretty thin. I don't think they had really any depth to them, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look at it. But Scott, you're back. You disappeared on
I'm
us for a
back.
bit. So what are you
Technical
printing,
difficulties.
Scott? What are you printing?
So I've got the Sword of Omens from Thundercats. So
Oh yeah, you showed me that.
yep, and this is the blade so far, which has to be printed in multiple sections.
Did you get
So
that one piece worked out? You had contacted me about trying to do something with the eye part, but
I think I got it
anything else
worked
from you
out.
on it. Okay.
I'm playing with it. I mean, I've got a couple pieces printed out, and it just takes some time because even though it looks like they extruded the cat symbol from it, when you print them both out, they don't go back together very easily. Yeah, so you got to like sand around it a little bit to get it to fit back in. So it just takes some time to do
Gotcha.
that. And then you've got your cross guards, which you can see on the very ends are very thin there. So
Oh yeah, now I can see it. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it does get really thin at the one end. That's going to be hard to keep from like warping or bending.
yeah, definitely. So I mean, now they come in. Yeah, they're split in two. So you put them together, it makes it a little
Oh,
thicker, but you're going to
little
have to still. Yeah, you got to spit. I mean, you got to glue these together, and and you're going to always have to worry about those tips breaking as well. But the nice thing about this, it's hollow, and and these are all individual pieces. So they screw together, and you got your where the eye of Thundera goes. But I'm making it so I can actually light it up. So
Nice.
this will be able to be used as a battery holder. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Sweet.
So I've already got it worked out. So I've got a AA battery holder that slides right into it,
Oh, nice.
and I'm leaving this
Ooh.
one unglued, so I'll know where I can unscrew it whenever I need to replace the batteries. So
Okay,
so
is
yeah,
that just a fun project,
really
or are
well
you doing that for Wonderfest?
I mean, it's a fun project that I'll bring to Wonderfest. I am reprinting the blade because I wasn't happy. The blade that Chris Morningstar gave me printed out originally, and when I put it together, I didn't get the connections good enough with the because I have got 4 1/8 inch steel rods that run through it. You can see that it has these little holes in them.
Oh wow, okay. So you can put some
I
rods
actually
up there
got
to give it.
to give it strength because again, like
Give it some
you
strength,
mentioned, you don't want it to warp over time.
Yeah,
And
and that's the only concern with resin really is that
Mhm.
that is a possibility if you don't add. I mean, but what model is it? I mean, look at the 1537 refit. There's always problems with those pylons drooping over time and having issues. But yeah, it's good to be able to add that structure to it.
And it gives it a nice heft too. When you feel the blade, it gives it a nice, feels like it's an actual blade as opposed to you're swinging
Gives it
something.
some weight.
So yeah, it gives it a little weight to it. So yeah, I'm reprinting. I actually have already reprinted all the pieces for it, and just need to put them together. And I have a better idea of how to get them together. And because the other part I was having is each section, I kept getting a crack line, even though I had put epoxy in between two of them and continued to, and I puttied in sand. I keep getting a crack line in these sections in between.
Right.
So redoing it because, that's just what we do. It's like you with your Arduino boards. How many Arduino boards have you gone through, right?
You look, I just burned another one up last night because I keep buying these cheap Arduino boards that just don't, they can't handle anything out of tolerance. And last night I was working on the Reliant, and I accidentally for one thing, it was my stupid mistake because I was just doing a quick test. I didn't wrap anything over the wires where I joined them. And of course, 2 wires touched and boop, that was it. Arduino's gone. Fortunately, I had another one sitting here because I've been buying these just to test things out. I buy these cheap little like $8 Arduino boards that are like made in China, I think. And I do that to test things out. What's that?
No, I think that's a future webcast talking about Arduinos and programming and stuff like that. So
yeah, so I've been talking about it on the 1537 Reliant build that I have been having some electrical issues. So I bought these little cheap Arduino boards just in case, because I already fried my not expensive, but the genuine Arduino Uno board. Already burnt that one up, and I didn't want to keep burning up boards, so I bought these cheap little like $8 Arduinos that are meant for like classroom stuff. And that's why they're cheap, because if a student burns one up, it's $8, But so
this is my other,
I just burnt one up last night.
Yeah. So this is my other project.
Is that the Rocketeer? Or is that No,
this is Dr. Fate. This is actually Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate
from DC Comics.
Well, it shows you how ignorant I am of comics.
Yeah.
Like Mike's like, obviously.
Got one more piece to put on the bottom there, but and it is actually
wearable.
So I didn't think it was going to fit my big head, but it does.
Yeah. How much did you have to increase the size on that thing?
They came 1-to-1. It was a 1-to-1. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I was like,
I thought when I printed it out, I'm like, that's going to be too small, but it just fits my head. I'm like, I probably would have printed it out maybe at 102, 103% next time, just to give me a little more space, but it's good enough for now.
I'm sure Mike knows what I'm talking about, but I don't do helmets because I can never get them to really fit my head well. But
I printed one, and it was a Stormtrooper helmet, and it turned into a complete unmitigated disaster.
Yeah. I wanted to do I want to do a Judge Dredd helmet, but I just haven't tried it yet.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, Judge Dredd would be cool. But when you're making helmet or putting together helmets, one thing that would be nice if they did have some locator pins for lining up the pieces.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that is a pain in the butt, because it's just all separated. The modeler did a great job with helmet, and then they break it into 14 different pieces, but trying to get it to line up just right. You got tape behind it, and then you're trying to glue it, and getting it aligned properly is a pain in the butt. So having some type of alignment pin, on the inside would be really great for these types of projects. So that's why, Mike, when you mentioned you got the alignment pins for the cells, that's one of the great things with 3D printing that I couldn't get done when I was doing vacuum forming with my 350 Romulan Bird of Prey. Because you have to basically create your own tabs to fit it together, whereas you have the ability to create your tabs in 3D modeling, and you can print it in 3D.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my model files here from last night's session.
Yeah, I know that. No, I'm sorry. Oh,
good God!
Finally found it.
Oh, that's the vent for behind the officers. The officers lounge there.
For the Reliant.
So imagine you're trying to make a mold out of this.
I did that because the one on the model itself is way too thick. It's like twice the thickness that it should be. So I did that piece to make it more flush to the hull, which is what it's supposed to be. So that's another one I didn't get to do on this model. I'm hoping to do on the next one, but it's a lot of mods I did. And that's so for what I'm printing. Obviously, I just did a bunch of the stuff for the 1537 Reliant, and I think Cass, I think we're done with that. I think that's how many times did I say that? You're like, no, I'm going to wait till you're done because I want to make sure that you're not coming out with any other parts after I put them out. And I'm like, I'm done. And then like a week later, I'm like, oh, by the way, here's one more mod I did for that model. And I just kept coming up with stuff. I mean, I never realized just how off that model was until I started building it and started making mods for it. And then it's like, oh my God, this thing is just way off in detail.
You know, I remember when that model first came out in the 90s and everybody was raving about how accurate it was. It's like, this is the best thing AMT's ever put out.
Yeah, oh God.
As we dug into it over
so
the
many
years.
inaccuracies.
With that super thin hull.
Oh yeah,
that
before they even thickened the hull up. And then they took out what little bit of window impression you had on it and made it just a smooth side where all the windows were supposed to be, and you got to buy the decals, and the decals really don't do it.
Well, I guess that was their fix was, okay, you want a thicker hull, we'll do the thicker hull, but we're taking away the windows.
Yeah,
right.
It's just ridiculous that you got to buy the window decals separately. It doesn't even come with the kit. I mean, I'm like, really? You got to buy I could see the Aztecs, but the windows, you kind of need the windows on the model.
And then what happens if there's no more decal sheets because they sold out, but you still have a kit in your closet?
Right.
You're not going to want to build it if you don't have any window decals.
Well, that's what the window inserts are for.
Right.
That's what Vagabond's for. I'm sorry.
Hey, now there's only so many hours in a day here. And I've already the sensor band decals for that thing. Remember?
You're talking about modifying. Now, those were parts I made to modify, but now I've actually been going in and the Cosmic Scale models, Matt Jeffries concept shuttle. I've been doing a lot of modifications on. I modified the hull, added some. I know it's kind of hard. Let me pull myself up here so everybody can see. But I've got, and of course now my blur mode wants to blur out everything I'm trying to show. But I put in grills around here. I did the nacelles more like what Matt Jeffries had designed for them. I got to turn off this blur thing because it keeps blurring out everything I'm trying to show. I did a lot of work on the interior as far as adding some details into there. I don't know how well you can see up in there, but none of this is put together yet. It's all just kind of set in place. But that's the main thing I'm working on. Well, now that I'm done with the mods for the Reliant, that's the main thing I'm kind of working on now. I did, Mike Hazelwood.
Yeah.
I did start on window inserts for.
Oh, nice.
For the, is that showing up all right? I can't tell. Obviously, my face is blocked, but I've worked on. I'm starting to work on window. I talked about. I really suck at drilling oval windows, and that's one thing that 3D printing has helped me with. Is I've been able to make window inserts for the Reliant, and now I'm doing them for the. Oh God.
Got the 537 Excelsior or Enterprise B.
This is the Enterprise B. Yeah. So I am having to from Marshall Models from Jonathan Marshall over there. But the thing with it is the way this is that you've got, and I think I mentioned this to Mike already, the windows here run into the impulse engines. Because like I was talking to Mike, you remember that when they redid the model for the Enterprise B, they actually redid the entire saucer section. And the saucer section's hanging up. The original saucer section for the Excelsior's hanging up on whose wall, Mike?
Bill George's.
Bill George has it hanging up on the wall somewhere. He's pictures of it somewhere. But so the saucer on that model is completely new. And the problem with that is when you take the saucer from the Excelsior, some of the windows have to move on the rim because they run into the impulse engines that were added. So I'm making window inserts for that to make it a little easier versus me trying to drill all those little windows. Plus, I got to move some anyway. So it's like, well, I might as well try to do an insert, and then that'll make it a little easier because that way I can just cut a notch where the window needs to go, fit the insert in place, and then sand it and putty, and should be good to go. So that's one of the things that I have loved about 3D printing is that I've been able to make so many modifications myself.
Well, I'll say
And,
this: one of the things that I've loved about the 3D printing stuff is, you know, as you know, in the '90s when I was in school and watching Don and late Tom Sasser, everybody remembers him. You know, coming out with all of their parts. You know, I have never been one of those guys. It's been great with being able to carve out stuff by hand and make it work worth a flip. But with my background in engineering and the aerospace industry, you know, I've used CAD every day for, dear God, 24 years now. And it's second nature to me. So it gives me the ability, you know, using the stuff that I do every day at work now to be able to come up with stuff like, you know, not just these nacelles, but the bridge modules that, you know, I sent to Wonderfest this year. And, you know, I can do stuff in scratch build. Yeah, there you go, Scott.
is that a Vagabond part, Scott, you just pulled out?
I'm not only a friend, I'm a customer.
He's not only the hair club president, he's also a client.
He's also
If I remembers that one.
Yeah, I know Cass, you're starting to dabble into that too, though, right? 3D modeling, you're trying to kind of learn the whole CAD thing, like Mike's got going on.
Yeah, I kind of started with making this.
Okay, so did you wait? You did that in CAD first, or?
Well, I had a friend help me come over and kind of help me with it. But
Gotcha.
But my problem was trying to get all the little Mike, you know the word for this, the little shapes to make a curve, like triangles and things like
Polygons.
that. Yeah.
What?
To eliminate the tessellation, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever you just said, Mike. That must be some aerospace jargon. I don't know what you just said.
Honestly, it comes from gaming, actually, of all things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you do it's polygons, but when you do something in low resolution, you know, it looks blocky and choppy.
Right.
What it does is it takes a curved surface like this and breaks it up into a whole bunch of little triangles. And the lower resolution it is, the bigger the triangles are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
And
can
that's
you
just
guys see the
tessellation.
chat?
Yeah,
you guys can't see you can? Okay.
Hey, well,
can't
I'm gonna have to go here in about 5 minutes to make that finish up the Titanic costume for my kids.
The Titanic costume.
Yes. Yeah. We have built.
Are they gonna sink on Halloween?
So my youngest is just he's infatuated with the Titanic right now. We took him up to Gatlinburg, to the Titanic Museum up there. He actually got his first model kit. They had it's the Academy, was it cast 1/700 scale Titanic kit that he had to have. We've been building that one.
They have the, I think, are you sure it's not the 400 scale?
No, this thing's only yay long.
Okay. Well,
So
if it's that long, that looks about 400 because I have the 700 Hobby Boss kit and it's only like this.
no, this is the Academy kit. I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
400.
Scales are a debatable issue. You know, we know that from Star Trek. So
right. But we built him one. He and Charlie, my 7-year-old, they're the front and back halves of the Titanic, and there's Velcro between the halves, and they're going to be able to break apart and fall down as part of this costume. So.
Hey, Mike, before you go, I don't mean to cut you off. Before you go, though, I do want to talk about one quick thing before you go, and that is you, Cass, because y'all are running businesses. What keeps you, or what makes it preferential to you to sell a finished part versus selling the actual STL files? Cass, I'll go to you first. Well, actually, no, Mike, you go first since you got to go soon.
All right. Well, I mean, the simplest thing is it's the same thing that's happened to me with decal art. Somebody takes that file and, you know, with it being a digital file, it's simply right-click, copy, paste, and they've made a copy of it, and there's nothing preventing somebody from mailing that, emailing it to somebody else. And you sell one copy of your file, and next thing you know, there's 1,000 copies of that file floating around the internet.
Right.
that's and with especially with 3D printing, all the hard work is generating that CAD file. So, you know, I sit there and do all this hard work, and I know we've had guys that we've punted out of various, you know, group chats and whatnot on Facebook where they'll take somebody's file, they'll make a couple of minor modifications to it, and then turn right around and resell it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
And they've
know who
had-
they are.
Yeah,
We know who they. William Barton and all the moderators over there at the Star Trek modelers group on Facebook have been
right.
really good
like-
about managing
I-
that.
I don't know. Is it possible for me to share a screen, Will, real quick? I don't know if I
Be
can.
honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if you can from your end on here.
Let me see. Let me, because I've got something pulled up here.
If you can, that's awesome. You'll have to tell me how you do it. But I don't. I know I can share a screen from me, but I haven't even
let's see
tried
here.
that option yet.
Let's see.
Oh, wait. I
I think you have to give him control.
There
that
we go.
one there?
Whoa.
Do you not want me to
it's
show
the
that yet?
one
Let me know when you want
there
me
we
to show it.
Try this one. Let me see.
I don't want to
Kinda
show any
reminded me of
proprietary
Spaceballs.
secrets, you know. Let me know when you want me to show it.
All right. It says sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. So let's do this.
Okay, I see the
Pull
monitor.
this. There we go. Can you see
You
that?
ready? I can share it. There you go.
All right. So like, for instance, this is, you know, that split version of the LN68 nacelle that I was telling you about that, you know, I've beefed up down here, added the locating pins here.
Okay.
But this took me, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 months to get where I liked it, because, you know, what you see here is, you know, you come in here, the grill detail here for the, is it magnetomic flux initiators or whatever they call it. This
Yeah,
is not just, yeah. And remember, part of this is I'm not doing this in Blender or in SketchUp. I'm doing this in SolidWorks, which, you know, that's my jam. It's what I've been using for the past 20 years.
Yeah, you're using stuff more advanced than what I'm using. So.
Right. But, you know, you see that, and then you see, you know, here's the full up nacelle. All that detail's in here. This stuff takes time. I mean, this is just the forward half of this nacelle here is probably 6 weeks on and off worth of work.
Anytime you've got a lot of curves to something, it takes a lot of the work just to
Mhm.
get those curves to match up and to look right.
And especially, you know, right here in the little bullet part here, you know, because these have got to follow a specific curvature, and specific contour. Each one of these has to be drawn individually, and then the channel has to be cut out virtually and whatnot. And it's got to go around a compound curve. This one's almost as bad. These weren't as bad. These are pretty easy to do because it's fairly straight. But I mean, you can look at the nacelle and you can see where it's broken up here. I've got a simplified model pulled up in a program called FreeCAD, which I will say this, for anybody looking to get into this, it's a really good program. To get started, it's free. It's a lot like SolidWorks, but not quite as much power under the hood. But you can see,
I could do so much more if I could get into more of a CAD program. See, everything I do is with Tinkercad, which is not as doesn't have the capabilities of what you're using. There's a lot of angles that you've got on that right there that I could not get in Tinkercad. I mean, just that front end, the way it slopes down a little bit, looks like.
This, you can see kind of the distortions in the surface right here. Just getting this lip right was
that part there for sure.
Pain. Yeah. And this is not a simple cylinder. This is actually a conic section. It's a part of a cone here. So it's a narrower radius here than it is here. This one's a revolved, 2 revolved parabolas inside each other, and then the channels cut between them to give you the grill. And then, you know, even something as theoretically simple as this. I mean, this part, super simple to do, but when you get back here where it curves back up to meet the back half of the nacelle, you know, you can see there's a discontinuity, not a discontinuity in the model, but in the CAD, because the extrusion had to stop here, and then I had to start with a curved surface to get this right. So there's a lot of effort that goes into getting these models right. I'm gonna stop the share here now.
Okay. Let me take that off.
So there's a lot that goes into these that, you know, I put a lot of effort into these models and into my decal art and everything else. And, you know, for me to sell the file to somebody who then turns right around and sells it to somebody else, that's cheating me out of, you know, money and honestly my rights to that file.
Right.
So that's the big reason why, you know, and, you know, like we said, we've had the people that have done exactly that. You know, I had to actually go talk with a major model company that ended up with one of my some of my decal art. To be fair, they were given it by the third party that was producing the kit for them, and were unaware. But we ended up having to do some negotiations because, you know, they took decal art that I drew, and a friend of mine helped me draw with some stuff because one of my early sheets, and used it without having had to put any of the effort for any of the research. Didn't have to draw in Corel Draw, didn't have to come up with anything from scratch. They were just able to, it's like, oh, well, here's the art file you can use for your decals for your kit from the third party, and, you know, that third party and I no longer do business at all.
I got you.
And same thing with the CAD files. If I were to let my CAD files get out, what's to stop anybody from turning right around and selling them? And, you know, I charge a certain amount of money for these things. Well, if that CAD file gets out, people can print this exact same nacelle for nothing, and I've lost my extra income. You know, I don't do this to be for my sole income. I do this to, you know, have extra money for my hobby and
exactly,
you know, have fun with. So
yeah, and I know I mean, Cass and I've talked about this quite a bit because Cass has I guess you could say first right of refusal on any of the parts I make. That's just part of our arrangement, is that if I make something a 3D printable part, I offer it to Cass, and if he wants it, then, you know, Cass usually buys it off of me, and then I sell it. And then I get people that reach out to me and they're like, will you sell the 3D print files? I'm like, no, I can't. For one, it's the same concern you just shared, which is once that file's out there, it's out there, and people can share it, people can print. And that's kind of the downside of 3D printing, I guess, really, is that it's a great tool to have, but for people that spend their time like yourself, Cass is starting to work on it, and there's a lot of other people out there that do. Kenneth Leishman, he puts his files out there, which I'm
see you guys.
I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for people like that are willing to share. Yeah. Sorry, Mike. Bye. he had a hard cutout time of an hour, and we're coming up on that. So, and I think Cass, you were kind of trying to keep this short, but to kind of wrap up that part there with I know because Cass and I've been talking about this, but a lot of the issue is that in Kenneth Leishman, I'm grateful for people that are willing to put their work out there for downloads and share the 3D files, but it's just, you know, I've had people when I was doing those modifications for the game body Reliant that I've still got sitting over here on the shelf, the 1250 I was building, mainly because I got rid of my big format resin printer, so some of the parts I can't really print unless I cut them up, and some of them I can't do that too, long story short. So as soon as I get another large format printer, I'll start on that build again. But I did have certain people reaching out to me, and some of them were people that we know do exactly what he was talking about, which they'll take your part, make a couple changes to it, and then they'll put it out there for sale. And I just didn't want to see that happen. And a lot of the parts I was doing were just modifications of the game body file, and I don't do that myself, so I couldn't put them out there even if I wanted to. Although there are a lot of people that wanted those modifications for that 1250. Well, I think it's supposed to be a 1350 Reliant, the game body file, but I just didn't want to put it out there for one thing, like I said, a lot of the modifications for that were the actual game body file part itself, which I just modified, and I'm not going to put it out there because it's somebody else's work mostly. But so Cass, was there anything else you were looking to add? Was there something you were looking for?
No, and I don't have to. I don't have to be off after an hour. If we go over, that's fine. So
Okay.
I know for sure I have a hard deadline of shortly before 4. I promised my girlfriend that I would take the dog to the park with her. So
Gotcha.
and,
Yeah, my wife and I are going
That's
to go to a concert later as well. So
I should have seen if William Barton wanted to join in on this, because I know he's been doing a lot of the Leishman prints, and he'd probably have a lot of input on those prints as well. But I mean, the other thing is too, are you guys printing stuff other than model parts? Anything?
eventually I'll probably print some tools. Yeah.
I printed this. It's a biscuit cutter. It's a biscuit cutter. I needed a biscuit cutter. I knew I was going to need a biscuit cutter, so overnight I just let this print, and I had a biscuit cutter without having to run. I live in Nevada, man. It's like a half-hour jaunt to a town in order to get anything. So if I could 3D print it, I did. And unfortunately, one of the things I talked about with Cass is I think 3D printing is kind of going to end up being the future of model building. Personally, I think that once some of these, if any of these larger companies start to get on board with doing selling 3D print files of stuff, physical models are probably going to end up being a thing of the past. Once 3D printers get to the point where it's so easy to just click a button and print something, this is like the beta version, I guess, of a replicator from Star Trek. It doesn't make food. You don't want to eat what comes out of it, but you can print all kinds of stuff out of it. And models is probably one of the bigger things that people are using these 3D printers for, I think.
Yeah, I think right now you're just limited. You're limited by scale on some, because otherwise you have to really break up a lot of the parts. If it's going to be a big model like 350 scale or more for starships, I mean, you're going to have a lot of parts cut up in order to fit on your plate. But I mean, there are bigger printers out there that can do larger scale stuff, but those cost several $1,000s. Which the everyday person like us, we can't invest in that type of.
I think the large scale printer, I think the new version is the M5 Max from Anycubic. Anyway, that's what I typically use, is Anycubic printers. I know some people like the Elgu and some of the other printers out there. What did you say you were using, Scott?
I got a Saturn II, so it's only about a 9 to 10 inch plate on it. So.
And Cass, what was yours?
Mine's a Saturn IV.
Oh, see, so we got Saturn lovers. But I like.
Believe me, I'm not a Saturn lover after this last summer.
The sad thing is that Cass actually bought me this Photon Mono, or contributed to. No, maybe you straight up bought it. I don't remember. This Photon Mono, and I'm like, I wish he had just taken that money and bought himself another printer. And I think you did end up buying another printer, didn't you? But you just bought a Saturn, or is that still the same printer? The Mars is the one that you got from somebody you knew, right?
Yeah, the guy that does the laser cutting for me for the Bird of Prey wing hinges. He sold me his Mars, and it was too small for what I was doing. So,
gotcha.
But he recommended getting an Elugu Saturn, and so I took his advice. But
yeah, I can't say I haven't had a lot of problems out of the Anycubics, other than that large format M3 Max, which I went through a bunch of screens, and it just got ridiculous spending $200 or so every couple months to replace the LCD screen, because they kept going bad. Hopefully they fixed that issue with the newer M5 Maxes, but I don't know if anybody watching uses one of the M5 Maxes or not that can give some feedback. We do have, let me see what we got in the comments here. We got Ken's Hobby Bench. Looks like we got Jody here. Who else we got in here? Let's see. One comment was someone should look into locking CAD STL files for specific user print license. Artists and modelers got screwed to it. Yeah, that would be good if they could. The problem with that is there always seems to be someone that figures out a workaround for that. It's kind of like, anybody remember when DivX came out?
Mm-hmm.
You remember DivX?
I remember that.
I remember DivX because it was brought out by Circuit City back. It was supposed to be like the unbreakable, the uncopyable version of DVD when they first came out. And I lived in Richmond, which was the home of Circuit City, which was the one that kind of piloted that or came out with it. And sure enough, somebody figured out a way to get around it, so it didn't work out too well. But it just always seems like, but it'd be great if they could, if there was a way to lock those files so that only certain people, the people that you authorize, could use those files. But until then, I think if that ever happens, you'll probably start to see more model companies start to come out with things that you can just 3D print versus having to go to a store. Because people like me, now that I'm living in a small town in northern Nevada, I've got a great little hobby shop, but it doesn't have a big selection. So I'll probably end up I've got a whole stash of models just like you two guys do. I probably got more models than I'll ever end up building in my stash right now. But it's great too to also have those models that come out that maybe aren't readily available through like round 2 or that, because it's like, what is it, the 1/1000 scale that everybody wants to try to get the same scale model, whether it's 1/1000, 1/1400. You know, yep. 1/350 is the big one, but obviously we try to point out that a 1/350 Enterprise D is like super huge.
48, like almost 40 inches long. Oh no, that's about 60, 70 inches long, probably.
Yeah. So I don't think they're ever going to put out a 1/350 model, at least not Polar Lights. But you can print one. There's a couple of those models that the Enterprise. I think Game Body has one, and obviously any of those Game Body models. Although the Game Body models, my only issue with that is they tend to be very inaccurate at times. It's almost like they purposely make inaccuracies on these models. But and someone said, well, that's to avoid license. I don't think that's going to be quite enough to avoid getting sued if Paramount wants to push it. But it is an option, because you could take the other thing is you can take a 3D file and make it whatever scale you want. So just like that, the refit, or not the refit, the Reliant that I'm doing from Game Body that I've been modding is meant to be a 1/350, and I've upscaled it to 1/250. So the nacelle is like, I didn't bring one out, but it's like this long. So yeah, it'll be cool when I can get that done.
I got Battlestar Galactica that I got off of Game Body, and actually, hold over a second, I'll grab the.
So we got Marvel just upgraded to an M5 Pro, but Marvel's an Anycubic guy too. Awesome. Yeah, I like the Anycubics. Like I said, aside from the M3 Max issues I've had this M5. I had another Anycubic smaller format printer too that I sold, and I didn't have any issues out of that. But the Anycubics have been great for me. Elegoo, I know a lot of people have. Oh, what you got there, Scott?
This is the Battlestar Galactica.
Okay. And
so
you 3D printed that.
This is 3D printed. The one thing I would do differently, and if I might end up reprinting, is just I would thicken the walls a little bit on the because these tabs are very thin.
Right.
But this was scaled up from the original file. The original file, I forget how long it would be, but I wanted this to be about I guess it's going to be about 40-something inches long once it's all done. So it's huge.
That's a big one.
It is a big one. But now the one thing I'm trying to figure out is the hangar bay, because that's supposed to have lights running through it too, and it's going to have to figure that one out.
So I like big uns, models, people, big un models.
Well, that's just it. To me, it's
get your mind out the dirt.
I don't mind I don't mind the 1/1000 scale, like the Enterprises and stuff like that. Those are fine. But when it comes to some of these starships that have been my favorites, I want to see a big ship. So that's why I'm going big. I got the I probably got the same Star Destroyer file that you got off of Game Body, right. And I'm scaling that. That's going to be the same scale as this Battlestar Galactica. So they'll be the same scale.
Oh, you're really doing that large.
Yeah. So so it's gonna scale up. Yeah, but so I've already started doing the files for it to get the larger files. But again, that Star Destroyer has got a lot of parts to it. So
Right. Yeah, the game body, however you pronounce it. I always call it game body, even though it's missing an E. But they've got some. As a matter of fact, I just purchased the Enterprise B files that they just came out with. Will I ever print it? I don't know. I mean, I've got the Marshall models Enterprise B. I've got to get done, but I bought the files anyway just to have them. Sometimes I do that when Game Body comes out with a Star Trek model, I just buy it. But yeah, I usually like to do the large format myself too. The only reason this is so small is because I bought this kit at Wonderfest last year, and this was the size it was in. Oh God, the gentleman that made the 3D files for that, if I can find it, Jeffrey Fink. He actually reached out to me and offered me, because I talked about I wish I knew in the 3D files were available, because I would have printed a larger format one, because that's what I do. And he sent me the 3D files, which I've been modding a little bit, and he's mentioned possibly making those mods official. If I want to send them to him, I guess I don't care. I do the mods, but I enjoy doing it and making it available for other people. So I might just send them the files and say, hey, if you want to offer this as an alternative version, here's the files. I'm not too worried about it. It's just I do a lot of these mods for myself, and then I offer them to Cass. So if Cass,
which we appreciate.
Yeah, if Cass likes them and he wants to offer them, because he does a business. And I've talked about this. I just don't. People have talked about, why don't you just sell the files yourself? It's like, because I don't. One, I do have a what is it, Colts 3D store, but there's not a lot on it, because I don't care to put a lot of my stuff out, because of the same reasons that Mike Hazelwood laid out. It's just that once you put those files out there, people will take them, and there are the few people. Most people will take them and use them for themselves like they're supposed to. But there are the few people out there that will go and print them and try to either resell them or to resell the files. And I don't want that. I don't want to see stuff that I've spent time working on, as Mike said, going out there and someone else making money off of it for no work. Even though some of them will do one or two modifications to it and say, oh, well, it's mine now. Well, that's BS to me.
I mean, that goes into the old, and Cass, you know this, being as a resin caster, someone adds one little detail to another person's parts, and then they cast it again and say, it's my part now, but really it's a recast of someone else's part. They just made some modification to it, maybe to accurize it a little bit more, but they're still taking someone else's original work, and casting it.
And Cass actually ran into that issue when he took over
Don's
Light and Magic, because there was somebody out there with the chiller grills for, I get the 1537 chiller grills, that had recast them and was selling them on eBay. So even with the cast parts, you still run into that issue of there's people that know. The thing is, though, there's fewer people that know how to cast parts that will do that versus someone with a 3D printer that can push a print button and print a file. So that kind of helps. Cass did run into that issue.
But I do hope that 3D printing will get rid of that. Some of these recasters who basically their business is resin, like all resin models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all they sell, and a lot of them I've seen are recasts. So,
what were you gonna say, Cass?
Well, well, casting is always going to be my number one thing. Just because it's whenever I'm casting parts, I feel like Don is with me, I guess, in a way. I know that sounds kind of dumb, but Don and I were friends for 20 years. So, but what motivated me to change gears with Lake Monster instead of doing the Great Lakes freighters was seeing the recasting on eBay, and I had a guy reach out to me one time with pictures and these pieces were terrible. They had pock marks in them, air bubbles in them. They were flexible because they didn't have the mix ratio right, or they weren't mixed properly.
When we first
And
started talking, I actually had a set. I don't know if you remember, but one of the things that actually started me and you talking was I had one of those parts because they were not available for a period of time, and I saw them on eBay, and I bought them, and they were just terrible quality. They, like you said, they had air bubbles in them, and they just were terrible. And I reached out to you when I saw you had the parts, and you were the one that told me, well, those are DLM parts. Somebody's just recasting. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't even know that was a thing at that point. I mean, but yeah, that's actually what started me and Cass talking was those chiller grills where somebody was recasting DLM parts and reselling them.
Yeah, and I just knew that Don would be rolling in his grave if somebody didn't just like take over and just say, okay, put a stop to it and just keep it going. So I think that was the big motivator because it took me, I sat on it for a few months if I should do this or not, because I wanted to do the lake freighters really bad. And because my passion is like sailing ships. Like a lot of people think I'm a huge science fiction nut, and that's all I do. And my passion is sailing ships. I've got 10 times more model kits of sailing ships in my closet than I do Star Trek ships. So,
well, Cass, if you're looking to come out with another mod, Captain Charlemagne said he would like to see parts for a 1537 or 1350 Constitution refit to convert into the Franz Joseph Dreadnought.
I think Hazelwood is already working on that, I believe.
Is he? Mike's working on that? Oh.
Yeah, Mike is kind of getting more into the conversion kits where I'm doing more of like the little detail parts.
Well, Mike's really advanced in his 3D modeling capabilities too. He's way beyond what I can do. I can do little things because I'm only using Tinkercad. I've tried to get more into the more complicated programs, but to be honest with you, I hardly have time to focus on my builds, much less learn another CAD program. And it would help me out to an extent. I know Trek Mods, being able to bring my drawings to life as a 3D model be what I would do if I could 3D print. And I think that's a lot of another comment. Marvel, I'm sorry, I don't know if PHX is short for Phoenix, but I don't want to say Marvel Phoenix if that's not the case. So let me know. I build regular models and Partworks, use 3D printing to assist with things like light boxes, brackets, holders. That's exactly more along the lines of what I do. I did the light boxes for the 1537 Reliant as well, which is, what is that? What is that?
That's your mod for the 350 light box for the Impulse engine.
Oh. See, I've done things I've forgotten I even did. Is that on my? Where'd you get that from? Did I send that to you, or is that on my Colts 3D?
I think you had that in one of your. You had it somewhere. It was a free file that you gave away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was a couple of things I did because Ian Lawrence, he had some free files, and this kind of goes into what I'm talking about. So Ian Lawrence, God rest his soul, great model builder, was one of the people that I've mentioned. Both the main people that got me back into model building some 15, 20 years ago, however long that's been now. Were Ian Lawrence, and he passed, and then we lost Boyd over at TrekWorks. Been about maybe a little over a year ago now. And both of them were great model builders. Ian Lawrence had some. I don't think Boyd really did any 3D modeling, but Ian Lawrence had some 3D parts that he had made that he put out for free. And I have seen some people selling parts that I'm pretty sure are Ian Lawrence's parts that he was giving out for free. And it really ticks me off that somebody would take a part, especially from someone that's put work, especially someone that's no longer with us, that has put all this work into a part. And now I see people out there. And again, I can't prove it. But the part looks eerily or crazily a lot like the part that Ian Lawrence, because I downloaded his files before his site went offline. So I've got his files here, and I've made some of them available at times to people for free. So I don't charge for those parts that Ian Lawrence put out. Obviously, if somebody asks for them, I give them to him. Because he did, I don't
Collector
have
housing. You did
He did
you
the
did the 350 deflector housing and a couple other things on
Yes.
that.
Yeah, he did the deflector housing. He did oh God, I remember everything he did. He did a couple
Oh,
parts that he put out.
he did the sensor dish under for the 350 the bottom planetary sensor or dish for the 350 as well.
Yes, yes. But he did some parts for some other models too. I don't remember what they were. They weren't Star Trek. There was a couple other parts he did, but I downloaded all of his files, and when people, because during my build, which is still ongoing, my 1350, which is in terrible shape right now because I've had to redo these windows, so I've sanded them back down. Now I've got to redo my sensor bands. There's the observation lounge on the front there. But
You didn't put your laser creation windows in there yet, did you? Or did you have to pop them out?
I did, and I talked about that on my build. My one regret is that I wish I had not put them in and then sanded them flat. I wish I'd just stuck them in, which is what I'm going to do on the engineering hall. So, but anyway, while I was working on this build, I had, I think, shared a link to those files that I had put on one of my cloud accounts, and people were asking about them, and I shared the link for it. So it should be on one of those videos I made. If the link's not accurate and everybody wants them, let me know. But it just really ticked me off to see people reselling a part that I'm relatively certain was the Ian Lawrence file that he was giving away for free. But anyway, so that's my thing is I don't want to get into selling parts anyway. I leave that to Cass. That's his business. And like I said, Cass compensates me for the work I put into it, and Cass looks out for me at Wonderfest too. So, but
Speaking of Wonderfest, do you guys want to see my project for Wonderfest?
I've seen it, but please show it.
Is it girlfriend approved?
Yeah.
Hey, Steve Martin. Steve Martin has entered the chat.
Oh, that
There's
wild and
Steve.
green sky. Yeah.
Steve's the one that joined us last Wonderfest.
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry, Cass. Go ahead with your haunted house.
I'm building the Addams Family house.
Nice.
So the model kit was supposed to be a haunted house, though, right?
Yeah, I'm.
But you're doing it as the Addams Family house.
Yeah, well, it's based off of the Addams Family, but I'm just going to.
Where's that base at for it? Where's that base? Show that base you were working on. You got it?
The one from Red. Yeah, I got the base from Red Planet. Steve at Cult TV Man sold it to me, and so I cut some wood yesterday and making a wooden base. But here's this is part of the kit. I have everything screwed together. You got it says Addams Family here, but I'm going to grind that down. There's a little sea monster right there. Maybe I'll paint that as a rock or something. But it comes with a fence, and a gate, and a little lamppost, and
that base that's like a plaster cast, right? Did you say
this is resin?
It's resin cast. But it's cast. It's not.
Yeah, not 3D printed. This is poured resin. So, and then you get the little house that goes right there.
Look at that.
I'm gonna have static grass, and I have my coworker has all kinds of military diorama stuff. He's gonna help me with the yard and make it look all creepy. So, look for this at Wonderfest. It's gonna be cool. I'm hoping to get it done in time for Halloween, but I doubt that'll happen. So,
if I bring anything to Wonderfest, it'll probably be the Matt Jeffries concept shuttle, because it's small enough for me to pack and bring. That's the only thing about living so far. When I was living in Virginia, I could drive to Wonderfest, so I could just put whatever models I wanted into it. I do need to, whenever I get the Ian Lawrence build done of the 1350, I need to bring that to Wonderfest, but I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do that because it's such a large model. And as you guys know, I hate shipping models. I just don't trust UPS or FedEx or that not to throw the box or something at some point. And the only model I've done was that 1350 NX for Brian, And when I shipped it to him, I did the best packing I could on it, and it still managed to get a crack on a nacelle or something, which he was able to fix. But that's why I don't do commissions too, because I just don't trust shipping stuff. But not only that, but I just don't have time to do commissions. I got so much. I barely have time for the builds that I'm trying to do live or on my channel. But let's see. Trek Mods has. Oh, no shameless plug. Trek Mods. He's doing live stream at 6 Eastern. So just put that out for everybody if you want to check out Trek Mods over there. But yeah, so I think that's about all I want to talk about. I think we've kind of discussed everything, how it's impacted. I mean, I guess the only other thing to really ask, Cass, is and I know you talked about a little bit, but how is 3D printing affecting your business?
In terms of expanding my product line, I think it's a very positive thing. It's, I've not made a secret of my 3D printing woes that I've had this summer, but it's not just the 3D printing issues that I had that put me behind. I basically had to redo the entire exterior of my garage. Otherwise, my insurance company was going to drop me. So I spent a lot of my summer on a ladder, and instead of working on new products like I was hoping to do. And I do work full time, and I'm also a caregiver when I'm not at my job. So I do these things when I can. I do Lake Monster when I can. I'm not always in my shop pouring every night. One night I'm pouring, one night I'm filling orders, one night I'm pulling from molds. I try to find an hour every day to do something with my business. And this summer just was not good at all. And then, so I wasn't able to tackle the 3D printing issues every day, or try to figure. It was like once, like I'd find a day where I'd have like an afternoon where I might take an hour or two to work on it, and finally get this thing dialed in. I have had some parts replaced on the machine that have solved a lot of the issues that I was having. That is it Elugu or Lagu? I always get it wrong, but
I've heard it both ways. I always called it Elugu. I don't know.
Elugu, maybe that's what it is. Elugu.
Elugu.
Yeah, so they were good about helping me with that. I think my warranty is expired on it now at this point, so everything else is kind of going to be out of pocket.
Right.
Working on my garage kind of drained my bank account, so getting another 3D printer, a different one, is kind of out of the question for a while until I can start getting some of these parts and save up my money again and all that. So I think it's a positive thing for the business, and I think 3D printing is it is the future. I was talking with I had a Zoom call with Steve Iverson last night, and we were kind of talking a little bit about 3D printing and a couple of other people like Rick Sternbach was on the call, Lou from Aztec
TV
Dummy.
Man.
Yeah,
Oh no,
yeah.
Lou's from sorry, that's Steve.
Aztec Dummy.
Cult TV
Yeah,
Man.
Cult TV Man, Aztec Dummy, me, Rick Sternbach. We were kind of like talking about, they talked about the old kits and all the old Aurora kits, and they talked about stuff that was going on before I was even born. So half the time I just kind of listened to what they have to say.
I want to come as just somebody that's sitting there listening to what Rick Sternbach has to say about a lot of stuff. I bet he's got some interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, sometimes he talks about his time at Paramount and just and then Steve talks about his time when he worked for Turner Broadcasting and but they were talking about 3D printing, about how things like production issues or loss of interest in new kits, but not wanting to develop, or loss of interest in older kits like re-releases that like Stay Around 2 likes to do all the time, or the tariffs preventing things from making its way over here. That maybe some companies might be looking more to doing 3D printing their kits as opposed to having production done overseas. not saying it's happening, but it's something that maybe we should keep an eye out for someday. So, so that's kind of what I got out of the conversation that we had. And if anybody, is going to know about what's going on in the modeling industry, it'd be those guys. So,
Right. All right. Scott, how has it affected you, just to kind of wrap things up?
I think again, it's you've got access to models that you never had access to before. The dream kits, the props that you always wanted. I think that's
Props. That's one that we didn't talk about,
Yeah.
but that's one thing that has really come in handy for is props.
Yeah, and I think that's just because we're never if you're not someone who can sculpt, but there are available 3D files for it, you can print them out now, and you can always have that phaser that you always want that assault phaser. If you want that Sword of Omens, like I'm building, I got the Sword of Omens. Like the Judge Dredd type of helmet, you can get those. You can get them you can print it out, and so I think you're just seeing a lot of that with the cosplay world and the prop world, the modeling world. 3D printing is just that it's the future. It is the replicator, that we've all talked from Star Trek. It is basically, it is the future of modeling, I think. And
It's
like
coming.
I said,
They've got 3D printers now that are using actual metal to printing with actual metal now, and I'm like, well, okay. They're printing houses. They're printing houses with 3D printers now.
Yeah, and the medical field, they're printing organs now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
It's just. The technology I can only imagine in 10 years how much more advanced 3D printing is going to be. To where there's a lot of things that you go to the store now. You're not going to need to go to the store. You're just going to say, I'm just going to print it out, and there you go. Like you said, you got the biscuit cutter.
I seen that they're actually printing steaks. Some companies printing steaks using actual tissue. I'm like, well, I don't know how much I like that, but try it once. See, you throw enough A1 sauce on the steak, you could probably make it taste good. But I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, see, this is truly gonna be. This is like the Betamax version of the replicators that we see on Star Trek, because if you could start printing, they're printing organs, like you said, so that's actual tissue that they're using. You can print steaks for people to consume. That's just crazy. But so we're actually obviously talking about things other than modeling, but it's just the 3D printer, the capabilities of 3D printing are just expanding exponentially every year. It seems like something else is coming out. But for me personally, I'm sorry, were you gonna say something, Scott?
No.
Or was that Cass? No, you good?
No.
I'm just gonna kind of wrap things up. We're at an hour and a half here, so I think we'll kind of wrap things up. But obviously, for me personally, I got into 3D printing just for model building, which I think most of us did. But it's allowed me to do a lot of things that I wish I could have done with some of these kits as a kid. There's things when you were building as a kid that you wish you could have done with them, and now I can actually do them. And it's allowed me to do some things that make me a little bit of money. I've got I don't do commission builds, so I don't make any money from that. But I do sell buckles. I think y'all have seen the buckles I make for like cosplay. I was looking to see if I had one. I don't have any of the Star Trek bomber jacket buckles, but I do have the Admiral buckles, which I make and sell. And I'm actually looking to do cold casting with these, Cass. I don't know if you can help me out with that, if you've done anything with that, but
possibly.
I'm actually looking to cold cast these with actual metal and make these in the future out of metal instead of right now they're just 3D printed. So, but I've sold quite a few of these. I've sold quite a few bomber jacket buckles. So it gives me a little money to put towards the hobby, but that's not why I got into it. I do it just, for other people. I charge enough to make money back for the time and effort I put into making them. But outside of that, but other than that, like I said, I enjoy doing 3D printing and designing things in 3D. I just don't want to get into the aspect of having a store and running a store like Cass does. And God bless you, Cass. Because I know, because you've got to deal with all the customer, I guess, complaints or criticisms that you get back as well on those parts.
I ordered it yesterday. Why isn't it here today?
Yeah, and then
Doesn't- you
there's
know, I would say 99.95% of my customers are pretty cool people. I think out of the 3,300 orders that I filled in the last 4 years, I think I maybe had 2 people that I thought were so unpleasant that I told them never to order from me again. Other than that, everybody's been pretty cool. You know, and for the most part, I mean, just if I'm running late on an order, I'll reach out to them. I'm just the best thing is just being honest. Be honest with your customers. That's the biggest thing. You know, let them know, let them keep them informed. Let them know what's going on.
Well, then there's the ones that complain because God forbid a model builder actually have to do any work with an aftermarket part.
Yeah, that
that's
hasn't
that's
happened
another
yet.
reason
It's not always,
I don't want to get
it's not always plug and play. It's not
Right,
plug and play
right.
sometimes. You have to make modifications.
It's like the window inserts I did that Cass is offering now. That it's like you're still going to have to do some work. You know, they don't just slide in and then that's it. You still got to putty, you still got to sand. There's still some work that goes into stuff. But
Right.
But yeah, so I think that kind of covers everything for us as far as how it's affected us, how it's affecting the industry. I think we all agree that 3D printing is something that we're going to see expand in the coming years. It's already grown quite a bit just in a few years I've been doing it. And I look forward to see what happens. And Cass, I know you're doing you're kind of adapting in a way by doing 3D printing yourself. I think there's still always going to be a demand, I think, for finished parts, because at least for the foreseeable future, because not everybody's going to want to invest, several $100s at a minimum in a 3D printer.
Right.
And not everybody's going to want to go through that trouble. It's just easier for them to buy a finished part rather than buy a printer and go through the trouble of buying resin and figuring out how to operate a machine that's not quite plug and play yet. There's still, settings you got to adjust and everything to get a decent print out of it. So I think you're safe for a while, Cass, at least. Hopefully things hold out. And like I said, you're adapting. I think eventually everybody's going to have to kind of adjust. Even the model kit builders or offers like Polar Lights and that, I think they're going to have to adjust eventually. Because I think it's just going to get so easy to where someone can just download the file, hit print on the machine, bam, there it is.
Right. Another thing too is that you're not going to get a crystal clear resin piece from a 3D print, and I think that's where casting is still safe. And
yeah,
I'm a hands-on person.
Your casted parts are stronger than a 3D printed part typically anyway.
Correct. Yep, they're going to hold up over time a lot better. Even like UV resin, it's going to turn yellow. I've got resin that doesn't turn yellow; it stays clear over time. It's unless they can. There may be a day where 3D printing is going to overtake the benefits of cast resin, but I think we have a ways to go yet. So
yeah, definitely. So I appreciate you guys joining in. I appreciate everybody that's kind of been carrying on in the chat. We had Trek Mods, Captain Charlemagne, Marvel Phoenix, who we have Ken from Kids Hobby Bench was in there. Let's see, who else do we have in there? Chaucer 44. He had an Elegoo Jupiter. I just seen that. But appreciate everybody for participating. And if you're watching this afterwards, please feel free to leave a comment on how 3D printing has affected your model building. But again, Cass, thank you for joining in. Always pleasure talking to you. Yeah, Scott, it's been a while. Looking forward to seeing you again, hopefully at Winterfest.
Absolutely.
But, hopefully, again, we'll get on a conversation like this. I told Cass we need to get together and just kind of have not even a live chat, but just kind of get everybody together and just have a conversation, on this. So
yeah,
we'll have to see if we can get that together. Everybody's got just such hectic schedules. It's hard to get everybody together at one time, except for Wonderfest, because everybody's there and there's nothing distracting. So, but again, thank you guys for joining in.
Distractions at Wonderfest.
Oh yeah, just not for models. I mean, we talk about models a lot. We talk about a lot of other things. That's when we catch up. But that's a whole nother conversation. But again, thank you guys for jumping in here. Thanks to Mike Hazelwood for dropping in for a bit. And thank you everybody that's been watching. Please, if you haven't already, if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. Help me out. It makes me look good to Cass, one of my sponsors, you know, when I can increase my viewership, and he knows that his parts are getting out there more. I should have, I did put out another update for the Reliant this morning, and I should have an update for my my concept shuttle out here soon, hopefully. And hopefully I'll get back to my 1350 Ian Lawrence tribute build, which has been languishing, I guess I should say, for a while. But again, thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you everybody for watching. Till next time, keep modeling.